Okay, this is part 2 of the Makings of a Great Guitar Player video series. Now we're going to talk about applying different stylistic movements to those scales and chords and things that we mentioned earlier. Now, when we phrase, we will bend, possibly. We will actually hammer on and pull off, which is just doing a 2-note ditty. Hammer on, pull off, hammer on, pull off. And that will also, create a movement. We might slide. We might slide from one note and down to the next. Okay? We might vibrato one note and then slowly bring it up to the next interval in the scale and then slowly bring it down and then speed up that process, and that creates vibrato. So all of those that I just mentioned, the hammering on, the pulling off, the bending, and the vibrato part, they all are interspersed or injected into those scales. So when you're bending a note, let's say within a scale, you might be bending that note up 2 frets, a whole step, to that next note in the scale. Or if the next note is just a half step, you would subtly bend it just to that half step. You want to make sure your bends are accurate. So whatever would apply to each particular note that you're attacking, then you would bend it up to the next note value. You might bend it past that note value to another note value beyond that. A lot of players will do that as well. So the same thing applies to the hammering on and the pulling off. You might hammer on a note that is a whole step or 2 frets and then do a little trill or hammer on however you will. You might hammer on the next value in the scale being a half step, only a 1 fret difference, and you might hammer on that and pull it off. You also might slide up to that next note value, or slide beyond to a following note value after that, or slide wherever you will within that scale. So you have these different ways of emoting or showing emotion of hammering on and pulling off, which creates a legato effect. Legato just means like without the pick. So there's not any percussive or there's no real attack. The attack is created by just this left hand. So you might hit 1 note and you might hammer on 3 notes, and then continue up the scale. You practice that as well. But with, stylistic playing, I believe it's important to develop a vibrato. And with vibrato, I would recommend doing it slow and then building it up as you gain strength in your right hand to do that. Now, vibrato, I would practice bending it to the interval with your first finger to the proper interval, and back and releasing, I would do it with the second finger, the third, the fourth, and so on. So you can even vibrato with your pinky once you get good at it, and you just kind of flick your wrist to make sure that that pinky is bringing that note value accurately back and forth from your starting note to your next interval and then back. So you got all these different ways of playing within the scale. Now, I'm going to go into some players that I feel have achieved a proficient approach with all of these techniques that we talked about in the first video and in this one. And of course, guys, don't forget the whammy bar. You can always vibrato with the bar. You can bend with the bar. You can do all kinds of things with the bar. Just make sure that your bends are accurate. Think about the next note that you're going to, and then execute, and make sure that you listen to yourself and that you're hitting those intervals accurately. So that about wraps up everything as far as the techniques, the basic foundation and everything. Now, I'm going to start talking about players. First and foremost, I'm going to talk about Shawn Lane. He passed away quite young and he was first and foremost a pianist. Just incredible dexterity, quickness, and huge hand strength, and amazing melodic sense, and extremely advanced background in theory. He was a real brainiac. So he could really apply these like otherworldly things that maybe just the novice player wouldn't even think of, because Sean had the knowledge. So Sean applied all the knowledge, did all the bends, did all those different combinations of things excellently. Okay, then there's Daryl Gable. It's Derryl, and Gable, Gabel. Daryl Gable, another just unbelievable player, phenomenal. I mean, great background in jazz, super player. Just he knows his intervals, he knows what works with what changes. He's got all the accurate bends, legato. He's got the picking. He's got it all. There's also Marshall Harrison. Marshall Harrison, phenomenal, unbelievable technician, extremely fluent, very much into economy picking, excellent background in music, very classically trained, and a pianist as well, I believe. Daryl Gable. Marshall Harrison. Duh. George Lynch, guys. George Lynch of Dokken fame. Now, he was a rock player, and he was in the constructs of rock pop song format. Incredible player. Phrasing, quirks to his playing, stylistic little nuances that separates him from just about any player. Another great player, Tony Smotherman. Just found out about this guy. A friend of mine's playing bass with him down in Florida, and they're starting to do some shows. Tony Smotherman, Smother, Smotherman. Unbelievable, combining all these aspects that I told you about. Fantastic player. Andy James, another one. Phenomenal. Intervallic selection, okay? Execution, practice, detail, attention to. Great player, Andy James. Next, Richie Kotzen. The name speaks for itself. The guy's a wonderkind, one of the best players probably that ever lived. Knows his scales, knows his bends, knows the nuances, knows how to get what he wants. Another great player, excuse me, another fantastic player, Richie Kotzen. Toured with, Greg Howe. Jeez, I'm really on a roll here. Greg Howe toured with, like, Justin Timberlake. In Sync, believe it or not. Did a stint with Michael Jackson, I believe. Phenomenal. Greg Howe. Introspection, new album. It's got all the stylistic, all the fundamentals, just ridiculous. Another one, Tony McAlpine, one of my favorites of all time. Tony McAlpine, unbelievable, classically trained, again, fantastic dexterity, practiced to execute everything. First and foremost, a piano player, I believe. Phenomenal. Another one, Guthrie Govan. Great, just unbelievable. Phrasing, bending, all those things we talked about. Knowing your chords, knowing your changes, knowing how those notes apply. Guthrie Govan, sick. Another new one, Nicholas Scott. Fantastic player, super quick, very odd with rhythmic structure. Nicholas Scott. Another player, Jason Macedo. Actually pretty close in at least residence or geography with Jason, and I've worked with him a little bit here, and he's just an awesome guy and great player, has an awesome background, way into like the other side and what the other players don't do. Jason Macedo, Macedo, sick, great player. And last, boy, I'm just kicking butt, eh? Last but not least, Craig Erickson. Super bluesy, super background, great jazz feel, blues, rock, sick legato, unbelievable picking, great player. Those are the best guys. Those are the best that I could think of off the top of my head, the top 13. great guitar players, the makings of.